Welcome to AAT in full Azania Afro Tip. In this channel, we're going to focus on everything African, from African kings, kingdoms, empires, and all the ethnic people of Africa throughout history. In this episode, we'll be talking about the Bantu expansion and such on the reasons why this is an important part of history. Before we go into the Bantu expansion, firstly, you need to know who the Bantu people are. The South African Bantu people are the Sotho, Pedi, Southern Ndebele, Swazi, Tsonga, Tswana, Venda, Xhosa, and Zulu-speaking people. And yes, all these people come from a similar background, which is what we are about to discuss. The Bantu expansion is a major series of migrations of the original Proto-Bantu speaking group, who spread from an original nucleus around West Africa, Central Africa, across much of the sub-Saharan Africa. In the process, the Proto-Bantu speaking settlers displaced or absorbed pre-existing hunter-gatherer and pastoralist groups that they encountered. The primary evidence for this expansion is in the language. A great many of the languages spoken across sub-equatorial Africa are very similar to each other, suggesting the common cultural origin of their original speakers. The Bantu expansion is believed to have taken place in two waves, about 3,000 and 2,000 years ago. Language analysis suggests that the expansion proceeded in two directions. The first went across the Congo Forest region towards East Africa, and the second, and possibly others, went south along the African coast into Gabon, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Angola, or inland along the many south to north, following the rivers of the Congo River system. The expansion reached South Africa as early as 300 AD. Bantuists believe that the Bantu expansion most probably began on the highlands between Cameroon and Nigeria. The 60,000 kilometers squared Mambila region straddling the borderlands here has been identified as containing remnants of the Bantu who stayed home, as the bulk of the Bantu speakers moved away from the region. Archaeological evidence in the region reveals that this region has been inhabited by the same culture for 5 millennia, from 3000 BC to date. Initially, archaeologists believed that they could find archaeological similarities in the ancient culture of the region that the Bantu speakers were held to have traversed. Linguists classifying the languages and creating a genealogical table of the relationships believed they could reconstruct material culture elements. They believed that the expansion was caused by the development of agriculture, the making of ceramics, and the use of iron, which permitted new ecological zones to be exploited. Bantu speakers may have adopted livestock husbandry from other unrelated Cushitic and Nilotic speaking people they have encountered. Herding practices reached the far south several centuries before Bantu speaking migrants did. Archaeological, linguistic, genetic, and environmental evidence all support the conclusion that the Bantu expansion was a significant human migration. Before the expansion of Bantu-speaking farmers, southern, central, and southeast Africa were populated by pygmy foragers, Khoisan-speaking hunter-gatherers, Nilo-Saharan-speaking herders, and Cushitic-speaking pastoralists. Before the Bantu expansion, Khoisan-speaking people inhabited southern Africa. Their descendants have largely mixed with other people and adopted other languages. A few still live by foraging, often supplemented by working for neighboring farmers in the arid regions around the Kalahari Desert, while a large number of Nama continue their traditional subsistence by raising livestock in Namibia and adjacent South Africa. It seems likely that the expansion of the Bantu-speaking people from the Akol region in West Africa began around 4000 to 3500 BC. It is clear that there were human populations in the region at the time of the expansion, and the pygmies are their closest living relatives. However, mtDNA genetic research from Kabinda suggests that the only haplogroups that originated in West Africa are found there today. In South Africa, however, a more complex intermixing could have taken place. Further east, Bantu-speaking communities had reached the Great Central African Rainforest, and by 500 BC, pioneering groups had emerged into the savannas to the south in what are now the Democratic Republic of Congo, Angola, and Zambia. Another stream of migration moving east by 3,000 years ago was creating a major new population center near the Great Lakes of East Africa, where a rich environment supported a dense population. Movements by small groups to the southeast from the Great Lakes region were more rapid, with initial settlements widely dispersed near the coast and near rivers due to comparatively harsh farming conditions in areas far from water. Pioneering groups had reached modern KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa by 300 AD along the coast and the modern Limpopo province, thus creating the Great Mapungubwe Kingdom and the Zulu Empire. Between the 11th and 15th centuries, the relatively powerful Bantu-speaking states on a scale larger than local chiefdoms began to emerge. In the Great Lakes region, the savanna south of the Central African rainforest, the present-day South Africa region Kingdom of Mapungubwe, and the Zambezi River where the Monomatapa kings built their famous Great Zimbabwe complex. Such processes of state formation occurred with increasing frequency from the 16th century onward, probably due to denser population, which led to more specialized divisions of labor, including military power, while making out-migration more difficult. Other factors were increased trade among African communities and with European and Arab traders on the coast, technological developments in economic activity, and new techniques in the political spiritual ritualization of royalty as the source of national strength and health. By the time Great Zimbabwe had ceased being the capital of a large trading empire, speakers of Bantu languages were present throughout much of southern Africa. Two main groups developed: the Nguni tribes, who occupied the eastern coastal plains, and the Sotho-Tswana tribes, who lived on the interior plateau. Well, that's a brief description of the origin of the Bantu people of South Africa, which was formerly known as Azania, but that's a discussion for another day. If you found this video to be informative, hit the like button and also subscribe. And remember, there's power in diversity. One love.